Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Gilda is a 1946 American film noir directed by Charles Vidor, and it stars Rita Hayworth and John Ford. The production is known for its cinematography and the lush costume designs of Rita Hayworth's wardrobe. And in 2003, the film was selected for preservation in the U.S. National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. The storyline goes that Johnny Farrell has just arrived in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where he's making a living cheating at gambling, primarily in informal street games. He then begins a more stable life with a chance meeting with a guy named Ballin Munson, who's the violent and less than scrupulous owner of the local illegal casino. He hires him to work on the premises, thinking that it's better to have an enemy close by his side. Besides the casino, which the local authorities are aware of, Ballin is involved in an illegal international tungsten cartel. Johnny quickly rises to be Ballin's trusted and right-hand man. Ballin surprisingly gets married to Gilda, a woman he has only just met. The two have different reasonings for marrying each other. Ballin can see that Johnny and Gilda mutually hate each other, but he states that hate is an exciting emotion. As Johnny tries to carry out his work for Ballin, Gilda, who continues to do what she wants, married or not, is a constant distraction for him, which gets to the point where that strong emotion of hate crosses the line. The movie was an enormous financial success for Columbia Pictures, and because of that, Rita Hayworth's agent, John Hyde, demanded that studio chief Harry Cohn give his client a share of the profits from subsequent pictures, but Cohn refused. But when Hayworth called in sick for several days in a row during the production of the next film, Down to Earth from 1947, Cohn eventually relented. Hayworth went on and then formed the Beckworth Corporation to collect 25% of the net profits from the remaining films in her Columbia contract. There's a rumor that the film is the only time that Rita Hayworth's real singing voice is actually heard, but that's just not true. She never actually recorded her own singing voice, but she was a talented lip syncer. Anita Ellis is the girl that dubbed most all of her singing in this film. Hayworth did want to do her own singing, and Columbia Pictures even paid for her to take voice lessons. But she never seemed to develop a voice that was strong enough that they thought they could use. It's said that she remained bitter over this for the rest of her life. Humphrey Bogart declined the role of Johnny Farrell once he found out that Rita Hayworth would be playing the role of Gilda. His response to not taking that role was that audiences wouldn't look at anyone else other than her. Miss Hayworth ended up having to wear a corset during the shooting of the scene, put the blame on Mame, because she had just given birth to her first daughter, Rebecca Wells, months before filming started. So they wanted to cinch in some of the pudge that had developed during that time. You'll see this film briefly shown in The Shawshank Redemption from 1994, which was based on Stephen King's novella Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. Both of these use a poster of Rita Hayworth that becomes very significant into the plot of the film. Whilst the movie was in release, an atomic bomb test at Bikini Atoll in the South Pacific Ocean, Marshall Islands, bore an image of Rita Hayworth on it, all this stating her bombshell status. The fourth atomic bomb to ever be detonated was detonated with a photograph of her in June of 1946. Above her picture was stenciled in the name Gilda in 2-inch black letters. Although the gesture was meant as a compliment, Hayworth was deeply offended by it. The studio director Cohen was worried about the bad publicity affecting Rita Hayworth's box office pull. Her marriage to Orson Welles was a constant problem for him. Hayworth and Welles were, in fact, in the middle of one of their separations during the shooting, and the gossip magazines were full of stories over the affair between her and Glenn Ford. When the two weren't filming, the mogul would barrage the duo with angry phone calls demanding that Hayworth go home. He even went as far as to have people spy on his actors and had recording devices set up in their dressing rooms. The first shot of the movie, after the credits, is a toss of the dice towards the camera, and when they land, they fill the screen, with Glenn Ford behind them in sharp focus. When the camera pulls up and back and the dice go out of frame, but Ford reaches for them, he does a second toss of the dice, but they don't fill the screen with this new angle. This special effect was accomplished by using oversized dice in the first toss. The first dice are never actually seen in Glenn Ford's hands, so there is no way to evaluate the extra-large size of the first pair of dice. The shot just has the look of a super-wide lens with great depth of field. They always say that timing is everything, and that holds true for this picture. During the entire Second World War, there wasn't a person that was fighting for the U.S. that didn't know who Rita Hayworth was. And most of them had posters of her hanging anywhere they could put it. As the war ends and this picture's released, the natural thing is for all these old soldiers to go see their pinup girl. So the stars had aligned just right, and the striptease that she did drove them crazy. Even with all the illicit sex stuff in films today, there is very little that can compete with her erotically slow and deliberate disrobing while she sings the number, "Put the Blame on Maine." This is the mark of that film, and the whole thing is sheer sex. Her curves, her movements, her knowing smile, her posture, her dress shape. It's also sexy that her hair is free and tousled and not done up. She seems wild, and she looks it. This scene is one of the most famous shots of Rita Hayworth ever, and is considered one of the best strip teases ever done on film, even though she only takes off one glove. That's all it took to send audiences back in their chairs. It is truly breathtaking in the most literal sense, and you need a second to recover after it's over. Go back and take a look at this classic 1946 film. It's a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.